Three, two, one, boom. Welcome to Elk Radio Australia. My name's Ian Kebblewhite, and wow, how good is this? Bringing to the launch of Elk Radio, radio show number 1, where it all starts, baby, and what a show we've got in store for you. Sitting somewhere in the spectrum of radio and podcast between, well, at least in my imagination, a Tony Robbins, peppered with some Joe Rogan, mixed in the scoundrels of the 90s, Martin Malloy, and of course the Alan Jones and John Laws of the world. Well, at least in my imagination, we sit somewhere in that spectrum. We're delivering value, and that's our why. The why of Elk Radio is to deliver a message of one to many, to be able to help and to be able to put ourselves in the position of being able to contribute and considering things from another person's perspective on how we can help you have the life you deserve, how we can help everyday working Australians and Australian households and the SME market, so the small to medium enterprise market, the biggest employers in Australia, those business owners, have in that collective both the life and business they deserve. But how? Well, getting to the heart of what Elk does best. Elk is unlike any enterprise you've come across. The collection of licenses and expertise we have, and ability to provide the coaching, resources, tools, and advice where needed to help people future-proof themselves, to have the money they need when they need it. But future-proofing, that's part of that pathway. It's where you start. And where we start is, well, we start by talking. And I want to thank you for listening to what we've got to say. So, to some of you, you've dealt with Elk, you've dealt with myself for some time. You've had the chance to talk with me. Others, maybe the first time you're hearing from me, you've picked up an accent. Well, I'm Australian, a very proud Australian. I grew up in Sydney, in southwest Sydney, where I'm a combination of an Australian with all my mates at that time, the Italians, the Maltese, Asian, no matter where they came from, we were the mixed nuts. In Westfield Sports High School, the elite football program, I had the pleasure and challenge of coming up against some of the best soccer players in Australia. And that certainly put me on a pathway to be the best I can be in everything we do. Everything I do and everything we do, being the business of Elk. So I'm a father of 5 children, and that keeps us exceptionally busy, married with a beautiful wife. And what my passion is, and what Elk's passion is, really, and the thing that drives us is, as a business, helping people. And I'm so excited by Elk Radio because for some time I've known that our message is what we've got to say to people, how we help people, is of significant value, but it's about getting it out to an audience, to allow them to engage in a way that suits them, suits this modern, fast-paced world. And tell you what a world we now live in. And so just before I get to that, these radio show communications, so radio show number 1, this one right here, we'll be breaking into part 1, part 2, part 3, because it's important for us to be able to get to you the information in the way that you can absorb it and listen to it, and certainly because also that I'm the founder and managing director of Elk, and we're a really fast-paced, busy enterprise. And so whilst we're doing this, we've got all our customer and client needs occurring at the same time, so we can't lock down in bulk periods like I'd really want to. And what we've developed is this bite-sized communication methodology where having these bite-sized communications allows you to hear what we've got to say, if it's of interest, of course, and I can guarantee at a minimum we will deliver to you a credible link to quality information at all times. So with that, and I talked about the interesting world we now live in. I'm not sure if you know this about me, perhaps you don't, but I'm a perfectionist, and the next to perfectionism is cleanliness. So at the moment, like everything for me when it comes to getting out, that takes that little bit longer. I've got my little sanitary bag, wipes, Windex, all that kind of alcohol type base spray to kill anything, absolutely destroy anything that's going to come in contact with me. And a little while ago, my youngest, River, actually had to get tested for COVID, so that was a bit stressful, but we've got 5 kids, he's the youngest, so we've gone through raising a family. So it was not built on unfounded anxiety. And good news is, and all I can say is actually on that, the doctor and the medical system we've got in Australia, they are the best in the world. My wife took my son and stepped into this foreign world, this bubble, the bubble boy kind of situation. And they all got gowned and came in and tested him. And look, it was such a minimal situation or risk that there could be any chance of COVID, but, that's the rules. High temperatures for 3 days, non-stop, yeah, we've got to test him. And I'm glad they did. We wanted to know. But the doctor we had, he was brilliant. He took the time to go out of his way to call me. So he knew obviously that we couldn't have all of us at the hospital. Wouldn't be wise to do that, of course. And talk me through what was happening and what the situation was and what he genuinely thought was going on. And it's for the way it was handled and the way that he handled things that I honestly, and we see it, Australia does have the best healthcare system in the world. Everywhere else in our economy, it leaves me questioning what we could do better and how we can do things differently. And in such a disruptive situation like this and what we've found ourselves in, is a time to review and see, can we do things better? And in our business of ELK and in your situations as persons or business, you should be doing that. I'm sure you are. And if you're not, we're here to help. That's what this is about, because we've got a depth of expertise that really is significant. The licenses and the training that we have, that I bring to the equation, bring to the table here, I want to be able to share that. So you can look at your situation with that same set of eyes, or at least through my eyes, and go, well, wait a second. If I look at my situation and I really scrutinise it, and perhaps on my background of being a professional footballer and coming through the environment, we're always testing and checking. When I say testing, we're testing ourselves against the best, checking our performance, measuring it, but then also highly constructive criticism of ourselves. And so in your personal financial world, I encourage that you need to take that same approach in your business, absolutely. Because in business is a sport. And if you're not winning, you're losing. If you're losing in business, that's a problem. So how do we help? Well, we find out in both those situations, personal and business, what your total personal financial data looks like, what it looks like now. We analyze that. We break it down, and then we go from there. We'll talk about that today in part 2, even part 1, depending on how we continue without interruption here, about what, when we do that analysis, is the next steps, because I think the best way to start this radio show, and I prepared in gender, of course, you'd expect me to make sure you get the maximum value from your time listening. When you cut through some of the facts that I'm throwing in, some of the stories that I digress to, the why has to be there, otherwise you won't listen. And that why needs to be about how can we help you future-proof yourself, having the money you need when you need it. How can we help you have the life you deserve? That's about taking heed, taking stock, that's the right word, taking stock of where you currently are, knowing what it means to you currently, what your issues and deficiencies are, and then how do you fix that? What's the pathway? How do I start fixing it, and what do I do? So we'll touch on that. Now, I jumped around a bit, talked about where I was from and my situation now, my perfectionism next to cleanliness. So you get a bit of information about me. So with that, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get to where do we start when we talk to clients. And so it often would be we'd contact the client or contact us, and we'd then sit down. We can't sit down, so one of the benefits of this modern, fast-paced world certainly is the development of technology, because it does allow you to be more informed, to be put into a better position. You better do it in the comfort of your own home. You better get access to people or resources you may not have normally, just because travel and other things like that may have been restrictive. So embrace it. And we have, I just want to touch on that. We've been ahead of the curve, and I'm going to sing from the rooftops and tell you that. For some time now, for years now, we've had a central management and control, as well as a SOHO network, a satellite office, home office network, that allowed us to strategically get the best talent into ELK. Where we've got people all over Queensland and into other states that work with ELK to service our national footprint of customers and clients, our members. Our members, very importantly, our members, because as a member, We've got a hard-fought club culture. We want people to be able to reach out and ask for anything that they perhaps want to know about. And that relates to your total universe of needs, your universe of needs. Because we've lived it, we've done it, and we're well placed to add a lot of value. I built this business Elk from nothing. In 2005, Elk commenced from scratch, an idea, a plan, a vision in mind. And we built it to now hold an Australian financial services license, an Australian credit license, and a fully functioning licensed real estate agency within Queensland and New South Wales that allows us to have the ability to help people unlike any other in Australia. We're without peer. And I say that with respect because there are a lot of good operators out there. But what we do is look at things through a different set of lenses, a 360-degree view set of lenses. We look at a person or a business and they are one and the same. They are one total connection, one total company, household, all in one if that's the case, person and business. Or if it's person or just it's within, break it down, of course. But we look at your total financial and personal position, your total financial data, your total personal financial data. And that means we look at your personal world, your super world, and then start to see how can we really help people get ahead. And so those licenses put us in the same kind of spectrum of what a bank does. Except we're not a bank, we're what a bank should be. Don't deal with banks directly because you need to deal with someone like us that makes sure you don't take a misstep and you get in place the structure you should as part of your strategy, get the solution you need to help you get to where you need to end up. So on that, why don't we now transition into when we sit down and have a first appointment, or we communicate with people in kind of environment, video link, phone link, and have a phone link communication. What do we talk about? So I'm going to bring part one to an end so people can jump to part two, because I think this is where you get the maximum value from this session, this radio show. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned. Radio show part one, radio show number one, part two coming your way right now.